Hello horse friends, and welcome back to the Imperfect Equestrian. We're out for another horse walk and talk today. Speak to you in a bit.
You look so beautiful, and I'm so lucky to be yours. And you're taking me high. Ain't nobody like you. I'm not coming down. Ain't nobody like you. I could go 1,000 miles as long as I'm with you. Yeah, you're taking me high. Ain't nobody like you.
Just gonna have a bit of grass. So this is not going to be another great big long video about my confidence, but I will just give you a little update on how we are. We're out on a walk down some of our local lanes, and I am feeling a bit anxious. She's not doing anything wrong. Occasionally she's like pulling me over for a bit of grass, but that's about it. And we've had about 9 cars pass us, well, vans and cars, and you know, she's not bothered by anything like that at all, so I don't need to worry about that with her. But I don't know why I'm feeling anxious being out, but you know, you have to push yourself slightly out your comfort zone, and at the minute that's just outside my comfort zone, so we're doing good with that. Haven't actually done anything with her since the haircut, so this is our first time out for a little while, so we're doing okay. We're just going up a hill, so I mean, I do get a bit out of breath walking anyway. If I'm sounding out of breath, that's one of the reasons why. Good girl. This way, come. Eat there. Eat. 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 There you go. Should be alright, come on. Thank you. Good girl. So we were just passed by a car. Luckily we were by a little lay-by, so we had somewhere to go, but now she thinks she can eat everything because I let her eat whilst the cars pass, but she's not bothered by them. She's more like, ooh, it's snack time. Ooh, another van coming. Run over. Good girl. Come on. Up, over, in. Good girl. Good girl. Cute. There we are. Come on, JJ. So I thought whilst we're walking along, I might as well give you a bit of a story time, and perhaps I'll tell you how I came to own my first horse. Now, I've been riding since I was very small. Are you eating there? Ooh, I'm chipping over my stick. I've been riding since I was very small, and I hadn't ever really considered having my own horse. Just never crossed my mind. In my head they were very, very expensive. I knew it wasn't something my parents could afford, so I was never going to ask them to spend thousands and thousands of pounds on a pet for me. I'd been trying for a dog for years, and it took me 12 years to get a dog, so horse didn't cross my mind. And then one day a friend of mine got a horse on loan, and I was like, oh, what's that mean? And she says, well, you get a horse on loan. I'm like, well, how much is that? And she's like, oh, nothing, you don't pay for the horse. I'm like, a free horse? You can get free horses? And the idea just fascinated me, and from that point I thought, well, if you don't have to pay for the horse, then maybe I can have one. Good girl. So I went home with this theory, developed it in my mind a little bit more about how it could work, and took a plan to my parents about the costs of keeping a horse and what care would be needed and things like that, and with the prospect that we didn't have to buy the horse, and also with a loan horse, if it's not working out, you can give it back to the owner. And very begrudgingly they agreed to let me have one. And luckily my auntie knew someone who had a livery yard, and at that livery yard there was somebody who had a pony, and they just bought another pony a little bit bigger for them, and the smaller pony that they had, they were looking for a rider for it. So I had a little Welsh cross Arab 13-2 hand-hired apple grey mare called Breeze, and she was my first horse, owned by my friend Emma, and it worked out to be a really good situation for us. That's right, I thought it was another car coming. Not yet. Turned out to be a really good situation for us because it was my first horse. I didn't really know a hell of a lot about looking after them, only what I'd read in the books. And what we found was that Emma would help me understand what was needed, especially because it was her horse and she knew what her horse was used to. There is actually another car coming up, but there's a lay-by coming up, so we'll walk into that now. And she would guide me through the feeding, when it would need hay, the best exercise, and we'd also go out together riding. So she would take Max, the horse she'd bought that was a bit bigger. I'll just say thank you to this car going past. Hold on one second. Thank you. Check for any more. So she would take Max out and I would take Breeze out, which effectively meant I had a riding friend. So we would go for miles and miles, much further than I go now, and I don't know where I get the confidence from. Didn't even consider any problems. If anything, you don't when you're little, do you? I think I was about 14 at the time all this was happening, and we'd do little gymkhanas in the field, set up jumps. When I say jumps, they were like poles on top of what do you call them, milk crates in the field and things like that. We'd go out hacking in the woods and for miles past loads of villages, very, very far we'd go, and out on fun rides and things. Only things we could hack to because we didn't have any transport, but we would go out most weekends and nearly every day in the holidays. Let's go back a minute. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Come on, JJ. Good girl. Good girl. So I can't remember quite how long I had Breeze for. It was a year or two or somewhere in between. And the day came when they wanted to sell her. Now, of course, as she was my first horse, I was very keen to buy her. And I asked my mum, can we buy her? She's for sale, can we buy her? But Emma's mum was very sensible, and although Breeze did appear quite big because she was a chunky girl, quite fat, she was actually very, very fine boned. And I was growing taller, as you do when you're a teenager, and she wasn't really going to be suitable for carrying my weight as a fine boned 13-2 pony. So they decided that long term they thought, I should get a bigger horse. So we let her go. I was quite sad about that, and then we decided to get another horse. Come. Good girl. Good girl. Got a car coming, so we'll just run out the way a little bit. Thank you. Good girl. It's getting busy now. Oh, another car coming. We'll wait a minute. Come on, JJ, out the way. There we go. Eat there a minute. Good girl. Some people walking and a car coming, so we'll just wait for them. Good girl. Let's turn around. Stop in. Good girl. Hello.
Hiya.
You're right.
Yeah.
Come on, JJ, good girl. So it turns out that the car is getting cakes at the cake stand. I think, anyway, it's stopped by there, no one's got out though. It is, yes. It's a she, her name's JJ. Hello JJ.
Lovely.
Bless her. They're a bit bushy, sorry.
That's all right.
We're just out having a walk.
Thank you for stopping.
No worries. Thank you for talking to us. See you later. Bye. JJ, don't be silly. So it turned out that the lady that stopped at the cakes knew what a Norwegian fjord was, and she wanted to say hello to JJ, so that was nice. Asked us a couple of questions about her, but she knew the beach. She used to have Welsh cobs. That was quite interesting. So anyway, I was telling you about when Breeze got sold and we were going to look for another horse, and the lady who had Breeze, well, the girl who had Breeze and her mum, they had heard of somewhere that had got possibly a good cob for sale, and we went with them and two other people from our yard to have a look at this cob. And he was 15.2, black and white. We thought he was a free going on 4-year-old. Did turn out later that he might have been a bit younger than that. They said he could have even been 2 when I bought him, but he was already broken to ride. He'd actually been a proper gypsy cob, so he'd been like with the gypsy horses, a little caravan gypsy on the edge of a verge somewhere, and the bloke who we got him from had a trainer. He was the trainer that we got him from, had actually bought him from the verge and raised him and trained him himself. So I says, oh, it looks like one I'd like. I'll have to ask my parents about it. And he says, well, you can have him on loan for a couple of weeks to see if you get on with him if you like. So he packed him up in a lorry and brought him to the stable, and then we called my mum and dad and we said, I've got a horse. So it was a bit of a surprise horse for mum and dad, but they had agreed that this time we could buy a horse because they'd seen the commitment that I'd put in to looking after one when we had Breeze on loan. So my cob came with the name Matty. Come on. So he came with the name Matty, but I didn't like the name Matty. I don't really like people names on horses too much, and at the time I was a huge X-Files fan, and I really wanted to call him Fox after Fox Mulder, but we knew that he was probably a little bit used to his name, and it's mostly the N sound that they get used to, so instead of calling him Matty or Fox, we called him Foxy, so he had the sound as well. So there I had my first owned horse, which was called Foxy, and we had many adventures with Foxy, and I had him for quite a while, and he would be sold years later when I got convinced by many people that I should have a bigger horse and a finer horse like a thoroughbred, and that probably wasn't the best idea, and I dearly regret selling Foxy, but that's how it is. So perhaps next time I might tell you some of the adventures that we got to with Foxy, but that'll do for now. So I hope you've enjoyed a bit of a walk and talk with us. We've had some cars passing, met some people on the way, a couple of people, and yeah, we're off home now. So I'm feeling a little bit less anxious after all those things and heading home. So it's done us all both good to be out. I'll see you next time. Don't forget to give me a comment below, like, subscribe and share. See you later. Bye.